whole enchilada, a community of high achievers that fight the status quo, rebel against mediocrity, and make life happen. Let's go. Hey, Enchilada Nation. Today we're going to be talking about the hidden skill that is shaping your reality. Really excited about this conversation because every week when I'm going through my personal study and I'm reading the different books and the podcasts and the emails and all the things that I do to consume information, I'm always looking for those couple nuggets that jump out at me. And a lot of times what I'm studying and what I'm looking for, it's something embedded inside of that just speaks to my soul about some message that I think is either relevant to myself or my community. And most of the time, that's the same thing. If it resonates with me, I just feel this inspiration to want to share it. And this is one of those cases this week. I was studying something completely different in relation to one of my businesses and an opportunity that I'm pursuing there. This idea that I'm going to share with you really jumped off the page for me and just inspired me to put together some thoughts. I went down this rabbit hole of reading about the topic and going a little bit more. How I want to frame this is I want to ask you if you've heard of the Baader-Meinhof phenomenon. Now, you probably have, but you've heard it under a different word because a lot of us don't speak German. Baader-Meinhof, which is just fun to say anyway, is a similar principle to selective attention or confirmation bias. Now, what that is, a lot of us have heard the example before of when all of a sudden you find yourself in the market for a new truck. I drive a truck, so let's say I'm in the market for a new truck, or even more specifically, a new white truck. All of a sudden, I start recognizing all of the new trucks, especially the new white trucks that are on the road. They're everywhere. The truth of the matter is there's no more white trucks on the road today than there were yesterday. It just happens to be that in that moment, all of a sudden my brain triggers to start looking for them without even thinking I'm looking for them. This becomes the selective attention as I'm selecting out of everything. There's the same number of cars on the road, but I'm selectively looking for that. And then the idea of confirmation bias is if I have a belief, like in that scenario, if I believe that a white truck is the best car for me, I'm going to start seeing a lot of them and seeing how good they look on the road, reinforcing my bias that is the truck or the color or whatever it is that I want. So this idea of the Baader-Meinhof is the confirmation bias. So why did this jump off the page for me today? The idea behind this is we all know that person in our world that tends to always be negative. They're focusing on the negative in life, always perceiving the negative. They come home from vacation and instead of telling you about the wonderful time they had, they're going to point out the bad service they had at a restaurant or the flight air conditioning didn't work. They're going to lead with those things, which are probably true. They probably did have bad service and it probably was a little frustrating that the air conditioning didn't work in the plane, but that in their mind over-trumped everything else positive. They could have had the most amazing vacation of all time, but because they have this confirmation bias towards negativity, that is what they're focused on. The point here that I really love, in the one sentence that stood out to me in my study this week, is that observation is a skill. And I thought that was interesting because normally when we say I observed, we look at it as passively. We didn't go into the conversation thinking I'm going to observe something. We noticed it after the fact where we said I observed in the past. This is what I observed about what happened or the situation I was in. Where saying that observation is a skill flips it on the other side, where you can choose to increase your skill set around observation, meaning being more selective on what you want to observe, so that when you did look at what did I observe in the past, you're pulling out the things that you went in there looking for. So here is a quote that, as I went down this rabbit hole, that I just really loved. It really resonated with me. It's from a person named Anaïs Nin. I had to look up how to pronounce their name because I didn't know. This is what they said, and I really loved it. We don't see things as they are. We see them as we are. I'm going to say it again. We don't see things as they are. We see them as we are. So if we don't like what we're seeing in our world and what we're perceiving in our environment, it's not necessarily a reflection of our environment. It's a reflection of who you are and who you're choosing to be. I just thought that was a really beautiful quote that caused me to think about how I'm observing my own environment, my own opportunities. This last couple of years have been some of the most challenging from a business perspective that I've experienced in a 20 plus year career so far. At the same time, some of the best opportunities of my life are on my plate right now. And they're opportunities that we've created. We're creating these opportunities. They weren't opportunities that someone queued up and put on the T-ball stand for us. They're opportunities that we have choices on the opportunities because of our ability, the way we're approaching our environment and the way we're looking at it and the way we're taking chaos, because that is a perfect way to describe our world right now, chaotic. There's chaos, but where there's chaos, there's the need for organization. There's gaps that need to be filled, and those are opportunities. Going back to this idea of that person who always finds the wrong in everything we do drew me to this quote by Bob Marley. Who doesn't love a good Bob Marley song? If you've never sat on a beach and just enjoyed a little reggae, you're missing one of the finer things in life. I'm not going to try to use a Bob Marley accent in sharing this quote with you. He said this: "Your perception of me is a reflection of you. My reaction to you is an awareness of me." What a great quote. The thing is, it's almost two great quotes stacked together, but together they make it even more powerful. Your perception of me. Too many of us are so worried about what other people think about us constantly. And sometimes when someone thinks something of us, we either retaliate with thinking something negative about them, or we get our feelings hurt. But your perception of me is purely a reflection of you. It doesn't change. Your reflection of who I am doesn't change who I am and how I'm showing up. Only I can control that. Your perception of me is a reflection of you. But on the other side of that, my reaction to you is an awareness of me. So if I engage and I'm going to react to you because you're being negative to me, that is a reflection of who I am. So interesting how he pulled at both sides of this relationship. I thought was really just insightful from Bob Marley, the musician. I started to think through this. The way my brain works is I consume information, I'm curious, but then I start asking myself, what am I going to do with this information? Reading it and feeling it and understanding it is good, but knowledge without action is powerless. Knowledge with action is powerful. And so as I start wrapping up my conversation with myself and thinking through a topic and realizing I need to move on to the next thing, I start asking myself, if you are enjoying this conversation, please, who do you know that you can share this episode with today that will find value in it and would also like to join us on our journey to become the best version of ourselves? And don't forget, please like and subscribe, because this helps me get in front of more people just like you to continue to grow our network in our Enchilada Nation. Thanks again. Let's get back to the episode. How do I actually do something with this? And ultimately what I had written out is what I'm calling the observation identity loop. It is a loop. It isn't all of a sudden you deciding I'm going to be good at observing positivity and observing opportunities, and then you check it off the list and you're done. It is an actual loop. It's ongoing. It's a pattern that can be changed. In fact, some of the negative people I know right now in this world were some of the most positive people a couple years ago when things were easy. An easy environment allowed them to be positive. A difficult environment, instead of making them better, reverted them back to a new observation skill of observing and taking in the new bias. They were confirming a new bias for them. Things were good, now they're bad. So now I'm going to look for the bad in everything. Where a positive person will look at it as things were good because XYZ. How do I find XYZ in today's environment and make sure things are still good? Okay, so here is the observation identity loop. What you currently observe shapes your beliefs. What you believe shapes your expectations. Your expectations shape your actions. Your actions directly create your current reality. And then how you're showing up in your current reality reinforces what you observe. So you can see how this loop can either scale you up, where each rotation of this loop is increasing your positivity, or very quickly, this same loop could very quickly decrease your positivity, introducing more negativity, less opportunity, less happiness into your world. It's not going from happy to unhappy. It's not going from tons of opportunities to no opportunities. It's literally saying, can I change my observation skill set now to start identifying positivity, identifying opportunity, identifying ways I can grow, identifying better relationships? If I start doing those things, all of a sudden those things will start becoming part of my reality. And as those things become part of my reality, it opens my lens even further. It creates an even better filter of identifying more of that. And that will continue to increase. Marcus Aurelius, which a lot of you know because I'm named Marcus for some reason. I think Marcus Aurelius is brilliant. I love reading his stuff. He said, you have power over your mind, not over outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. So this new skill of positive observation starts with deciding mentally, internally, that you are going to choose to observe and find positivity. You're going to seek it out in a world where there's plenty of people lined up to give you a solid dose of negativity. It's you choosing to not take that medicine of negativity and joining their ranks and their army of negativity, but ignoring it and standing up for positivity, being a beacon and a light in this world. A lot of this has to do with you and how you're showing up, all of us individually. I'm not saying you only, it has to do with me as well. All of us can increase our skill set of observation. And particularly, I want to point this out with my community, you, high achievers, leaders inside your world, inside your families, inside your businesses. It's not enough just to change your skill set of observation and identifying positivity. Start infusing that into all of your relationships. This is such a key piece to leadership right now, actually sharing that positivity skill set and that observation skill set with other people. It does me no good to walk into a meeting with my people where we're facing a high level challenge or obstacle, and we get into it, and throughout the meeting I observe things. Observe things mean they're happening inside my head. I observe things like, oh, this person brought a great idea. Oh, I love that this person shared a book they're currently reading. That tells me that they're on a pathway of personal growth. I love that this person stopped the meeting and said, hey, let this person finish their thought. All those little things are happening, but if I observed them, it does me good. But what if I slowed down from a leadership perspective and said things like, hey guys, I want to stop for a minute. Do you notice the energy in the room shifted when Jake shared this comment? Or, hey, do you notice this one positive transaction that Stephanie's talking about? What you don't know is she also had 3 bad transactions that happened this week that were tough. There were challenges, but she chose to bring this one to the table. Bringing awareness to that observation as you're having it to the people around you will make them stop and pause and think, I'm grateful that this is my leader, that they're bringing positivity to the world. And then also it will make them want to be like, I want to be recognized for positivity. Nobody's stopping the meeting to say something along the lines of, oh, guys, did you notice how Marcus went negative in this meeting and it really shifted the energy of our meeting? They're not going to get positive praise for that. But I believe, and I believe this with our kids too, is if we can reinforce positivity and this observation of finding opportunities and these serendipitous moments of joy, that more of those will come into our world. I keep saying that observation is a skill. This whole rabbit hole I went down to started from this one-line sentence that observation is a skill, particularly positive observation is a skill. So how do we do that? Ultimately, I want to invite you to do a 3x3 observation drill for a few days, just to get into a habit of starting to trigger your brain to start having that confirmation bias, confirming your bias or your belief that the world is good. I love the Luke Bryan song. Can't remember exactly how it goes, but it says something along the line of, I believe most people are good. And I believe that. I really believe that even the jerk that cuts me off on the freeway, it doesn't make him a bad person. That's more than likely he's got a lot going on, and more than likely he's trying to do what's best for him and his family in life. Maybe I don't agree with how they're doing it, but I do believe most people are good. And this 3x3 observation drill will help you start to identify more positivity, more happiness, and more opportunities in your world. It comes down to this. Every day, write down 3 things that went right today, 3 opportunities that you noticed, and 3 people who added value to your world. If you do that for, let's say, a week, or let's say you're really ambitious and do it for 2 weeks, in 14 days times 3, you're going to identify a lot of people in your world that are bringing positivity. And you're probably going to find yourself being more attracted to those people. You're going to identify a lot of things that went right in your world. Like if I pulled up all my emails that I get on my texts in a current day, most of them are asking me to solve problems, which problems equate to a lot of people of negativity. It could be that I end my day saying I got X number of emails and texts of negativity, but the 3 things I identified that were positive will trump mentally in my mind the maybe 100 emails or texts that I got asking me to deal with problems. And then the 3 opportunities. This is where I think things really start to escalate. When you take advantage of a small opportunity, I think the universe knows you deserve a bigger opportunity. If you ignore small opportunities, the universe will not present bigger opportunities to you. It could be a small enough opportunity, as small as passing by somebody that looks stressed out, and you could just be like, oh, they look stressed, and walk on. Or maybe your opportunity is to stop and say, hey, you look a little overwhelmed. Are you okay? Is there something I can do to help you? Can I share a positive quote I read this morning? Or I feel you. That is such a small thing, but to me, that was an opportunity that you could have chosen to take advantage of or let go by. That person will get another opportunity to progress their life forward next. It's not because of karma, not because just because I did a good thing, I deserve more things. But what they're doing is they're training their brain to identify opportunities, and you will start to see more opportunities in your world. Here's my closing thought to you. Who you are and how you experience the world is a direct result of your pattern of observation, which normally there I would say is a direct result of who you are. As we learn through the observation identity loop, who you are and how you're showing up starts with how you observe the world. If you want to change the world you live in, start by building the skill of observation. Train your eye to see possibility. Train your mind to recognize opportunity. Train your life toward the future and the world you actually like and want. I commit to increase my observation skill, observation of positivity, keep moving forward and bringing you content like this that is changing my life, moving me forward, and I'm hoping if it's having an impact on you. My friends, do not forget, go live life on your terms.